Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome once again to Do-It-Yourself Budget Hot Rodding, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the return of Project Spirit to daily driving. Now, if you're not in the know, Project Spirit is my 1975 Ford Maverick four-door sedan. Project Spirit is the car that a lot of people really absolutely love. As a matter of fact, here in St. Francis County, Missouri, we like to say that people all around the world, from here to Hong Kong, in both directions, love Project Spirit. But in order for Project Spirit to become a daily driver again, we had to fix some ignition issues. In the previous episodes, this has kind of been the lead up to it. So in this episode, what ended up having to happen, because I'm not very good with wiring, and Project Spirit was just not able to be driven to the shop to have this work done, she had to be taken by tow truck. I want to thank the guys at K. Buckley for being able to take Project Spirit over to Torque Diesel and Auto, who then did the wiring for Project Spirit's new ignition system. Now, this ignition system is basically, there's a new key where the radio used to be and a push button starter. So what you have to do is, through the use of the old key switch, you have to turn that on so you can at least activate the steering column, because it's still a locking steering column. Then you put the key into the new ignition switch, turn that to the on position. Then you push a button and that engages the starter to start Project Spirit. And later on in the video, I'll show you how that all comes together. This was done because from the old days, Project Spirit used to be a 3 on the tree. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically her stick shift was not on the floor, it was on the steering column. Kind of like you would see in automatics. But you shifted her manually from the column. You still use the clutch pedal and everything, just like a normal manual, but it was mounted to the column, and it's only a 3-speed stick shift. So we've kept the 3-speed stick shift in there, but it's moved to the floor long ago. Well, the neutral safety switch was still in there. This became problematic. I would go into a turn and it would shut Project Spirit off, and it would take me a good long while to get her restarted. So because of that, we had to bypass that. Along with that, there's a rod that runs from the key switch down to the ignition box, just like on a lot of your old cars, and that rod didn't work the way that it should. Because of this, I always had to disconnect Project Spirit's battery, because of the fact that you would shut her off, but there was still electricity being drawn from your battery to the ignition, and this caused a lot of problems. So because of this became an issue as well. Now, what had to happen was the people at Torque Diesel and Auto had to remove all the, disconnect the actual ignition from Project Spirit's old key switch. Now, again, they left that in place so the steering column would lock, now adding another level of security to Project Spirit. So even if you get her started, you're not going to be able to turn the wheel, making it even more difficult for her to be stolen. So now we have another extra level of security. They brought her over, we got her offloaded, and it took them a couple of days to get to her, but they got Project Spirit into the shop. Was able to install the new wiring setup, so now she has another level of security, meaning that you have to actually use, to drive her, you have to have 2 keys just to drive Project Spirit, the original one and the new one, which is just really awesome. Now, the day we picked her up, for the record, no, I'm really not driving this fast. I sped the video up ×6, okay? Her first day back on the road, I knew there was issues with the battery, and there was a few issues with the positive battery cable. So she actually stalled at the next intersection, and it was a gentleman who was in behind Princess Faye, because Princess Faye is driving Project Lena right behind Project Spirit. She stalls, a gentleman, and believe it or not, a state trooper helped push her to this gas station real quick, and she wouldn't, Project Spirit wouldn't start. I had to make a few adjustments to that battery cable. She started right up, but I knew that those two things had to be replaced next. So we took Project Spirit up to Rural King, swapped out her battery, swapped out the, the positive cable, and everything was hunky-dory. Project Spirit runs just fine. Actually, if anything, she runs 100 times better than she did, say, 1 year ago. It's amazing what this little extra work did. So, again, there's a lot of people I need to really thank in this video, not just the normal people that support the Prince Magnum channel, but I want to thank that state trooper for helping push Project Spirit, the gentleman that was in the pickup truck right behind Princess Faye, and I want to thank the people up at Rural King for providing the parts that it took to get Project Spirit back up to snuff. And all that really was a brand new battery and a positive battery cable. But these parts were needed. Along with that, I want to thank the fine folks again at K. Buckley for taking the time out. We still had to pay them for it, but they took the time out, and the gentleman that picked up Project Spirit and took her over, he was very, very gentle with her, even took extra precautions to make sure that she was safe on her trip over to Torque Diesel and Auto. And again, I want to take a big moment to thank the people at Torque Diesel and Auto for taking good care of Project Spirit, because, I mean, she runs amazing, because the issues with her key switch, the way that it was, and then that neutral safety switch down inside the steering column, there was that caused a lot of problems, and I was actually even losing gas mileage over it, because the system was just so wonky. After 45 years, it was actually even hurting my gas mileage, because electricity wasn't allowed to flow as freely as it should. If you will, it was shorting out. Eventually, it could have even caught fire. So because of this issue being solved, Project Spirit now gets phenomenal gas mileage. As a matter of fact, she was running on a full tank. I didn't realize how full she was, but she was running on a full tank, and took her up to Rural King, drove her back home, and stopped off at the Casey's. We didn't even put a half a gallon of gas in her. So, believe it or not, with all the major changes to Spirit, she actually runs so much more efficient than before. We may be changing the number of her average gas mileage on the highway to an even bigger number, which that's impressive by no stretch of the imagination. So Project Spirit is actually doing like 1,000 times better. Again, if you're wondering why everything looks like it's going so fast, I turned the camera on and I kept it rolling, and this video is going to get a little long-winded if I didn't speed up the time. So I sped up the time of the video times 6. Also, for the record, again, a lot of people hadn't seen Project Spirit in a while, and there's a lot of new people that have moved into the St. Francis County area. So for them, they're seeing Project Spirit for the very first time. So there was a lot of people who are like, oh my God, I haven't seen one of these in years, and oh, she's so beautiful and everything. That's just one of those things. Princess Faye and I even took the time to stop over at Hobby Lobby and just kind of look around. It was nice to have the old girl back out on the road, and we took her out and just, Princess Faye drove Project Lena in behind Spirit, but, in case there was any problems, we had, I had, if I had to leave her, someplace overnight, because of issues, we were well prepared, but we didn't have any problems whatsoever. So again, the folks at Torque Diesel and Auto did an absolutely amazing job. That should go without saying, because if they didn't do a good job, I wouldn't, but, I don't do bad reviews. We all know that. So Project Spirit is now in tip-top form, which means at this point, we can get back to driving her regularly and save a lot of money on gas, because Project Spirit does get phenomenal gas mileage compared to even Project Lena. Along with that, now we can even spend a little bit more time focusing on getting ready for car show season, because all the hard-working bugs are out of projects. You know, the problems that were hindering Project Spirit are pretty much worked out. We've ironed out the worst of the bugs. Yeah, there's still going to be more parts to replace and tune-ups to do and things like that. There's going to be a lot of that still left to do before car show season, but we can take our time now. Along with that, Project Lena, now we can start focusing a lot of attention on her, because there's a lot of things that have fallen into disrepair on Project Lena. You know, she still needs the window regulator for her driver's window, because the driver's window doesn't roll up and down. So now, you know, we can now begin focusing on Project Lena too. So even if we need to take her off the road for a couple of days, Project Spirit can definitely fill the gap, as she was always meant to. We can now even take some miles off of Project Lena, because she's now up over 200,000 miles. So yeah, it would be nice to save, you know, to save some miles on Project Lena. And Project Spirit, this was what she was meant to do, be a daily driver. Now, I will also say, it's been a while since I drove Project Spirit, so yeah, you know, I've had some struggles with the brand new clutch and everything, so, you know, which we talked about in previous videos. Along with that, you know, it's been a while since I've drove stick as regularly as I did in this video, so that was, you know, I had to get used to doing that again. If you don't drive stick for a little while, it's not uncommon to see that as an issue. So, you know, it was despite the one hiccup where she stalled on us, we had to push her out of the way. She had a great first day back out on the road, and I was impressed with how the gas mileage was. I was impressed with how smooth she ran. There was even a couple of times that I had to actually rev her up, you know, pushing the clutch, rev her up, because I thought she died. No, she was just running that smooth. So in the next segment of this video, I'm going to actually show you how the brand new key switch works on Project Spirit. You guys are going to get a big kick out of this. Okay, folks, let me show you how the brand new ignition setup works in Project Spirit. And trust me when I say it looks tedious, but once you get used to it, it's not so bad. All right. First things first. With the old key, you still need it because the steering column is locked. The lock is still in place. So you turn it all the way, and now we can move the wheel. Next, you take your brand new key and put it in the new ignition. Turn it to the on position. But even if you turn it all the way, it won't start the car. Now, like normal, reach over. We'll put her in neutral. And just like that, all these layers add up to more, you know, more safety as far as protecting Project Spirit from being stolen. And she does sound amazing with the brand, you know, with all the work that we've done for the past year. That is awesome. Now, to shut it off, just like you would a normal car. You turn it right there, reach up, and it's locked into place. So now we have several layers of protection against Project Spirit being stolen. So again, yes, it is tedious, and I know some of you are out there going, gosh dang, that's a little overkill, but Project Spirit is a one-of-a-kind car by this time. So how many times do I gotta say it? How many of you out there have seen four-door Mavericks? Okay, so now that we've established that, I no longer have to keep this off to bump that switch right there. I can reach it, and now I can leave this in place permanently as it was meant to be. That collar now can stay on, because for the longest time we had to leave that off because of the problems with the ignition, because I had to reach down and give that a bump. That's no longer a problem now. So there you have it. You know, it's as simple as it gets. This is an old school design that we've done. Now eventually we're going to take this panel back off And of course, we're going to have to disconnect the battery and all that other stuff, but this will come back off, and we'll actually be able to go in, take this plate, dress it up really nice, make any minor adjustments that we want, paint it up really awesome looking. Princess Faye will do some of her amazing artwork, and she'll be ready for car shows. Pretty awesome if you ask me. All done on the tightest budget that we could possibly do. It would have cost us a lot more had we not taken the time out and done the steps on this panel up to a certain point. $120 for the wiring. That's it. Not too terribly bad considering wiring can get kind of expensive, especially on these old cars. So, there you have it. Now, here in just a moment, we're going to show Princess Faye getting to try out this new setup. All right, folks, another one to the book. Project Spirit back on the road doing what she does best. If you enjoyed this sort of video, be sure to hit the like button and hit it hard so YouTube knows to push this content to as many people as possible. If you're not subscribed to the Prince Magnum channel, you might want to do so. And be sure to hit that bell icon so you don't miss a thing. Along with that, I'd like to thank these wonderful, fine folks within the Maverick Nation right here. These are hard-working cogs that continue to push me to provide you with content just like you're seeing here. You know, these people also run YouTube channels themselves in a lot of cases, and they too put out a lot of hard thought out content. So be sure to check these folks out. Along with that, I'd like to take a moment and thank my partner, Mr. Sketch Scars himself, Jammin' John of Sketch Squad TV. He's always doing something out there, and he's always giving me big shout outs, so now it's my turn. Be sure to check out Sketch Squad TV. He does all sorts of stuff, including the AWO Liberty Hour, and he does a lot of video game streaming stuff, and him and I were probably looking at doing some stuff for raising money for kids, and all. Just, you know, he's a hardworking guy, and you know, sometimes I think his heart's too big for such a cruel world like we live in. All right, and that brings us to one of my favorite spots where I get to tell all of you, get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is, just do something with yourself. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind make horrible bedfellows. If you have a sweetheart, sweep her off her feet and do something special for her today. And as always, for all of you out there, if no one out there has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.